one that if you look at best of threes,
all right, Liquid on defense, Fnatic on attack.
Events outside of the VCT, so always going to be interesting, of course. This is a matchup that has happened so many times, all the way back to First Strike. So that was before even I was here.
I remember.
And I'm old.
Many months ago.
Now,
of course,
your boy
Vital,
is that what I say that with the Prime? Thank you, thanks so much, bro. Your boy Vital, thank you with the Prime, I appreciate you doing that. Yeah, let's see who win the pistol. Again, this is a big game. Whoever wins this goes to Toronto. And Nats has been seen on the minimap. Wait. How they traded places here. Spike goes towards... Dude, what a nuts one. Spike goes towards the top.
Trading blows for the most part. It's left Boaster alone.
Okay, nicely done from Kiko on this one. One of the weirdest pistols we've had for a while. Dude, look, every single kill's in this little box.
I was going to say, it doesn't have the Boaster smoke to help him out in this scenario, so it will be the pistol going the way of Liquid. As it was mentioned on the desk, it is something that, especially Fnatic, have been known to have very hot starts on this map. In fact, when they started defense last time, they went 8-4, and then the time before that they started attack and they went 8-4, and the time before that they started defense and they went 8-4, and then the time before that they started on attack and they went 8-4, and the time before that was attack again and 9-3, so they ruined it. But
okay, Outlaw, everyone can get one shot. Ghost and
actually teeter out a little bit in the second half. We've seen OTs for them.
Ghost and
Liquid, on the other hand, they have only lost this map
one
once
Sheriff
this year, 8 times played, and that was in a mega OT versus EDG. So, I mean, EDG, you know, acceptable team, kind of a good team.
Okay, Fnatic on the eco. Try and create pressure over towards here without the smoke.
It doesn't make sense.
Make it look that they've actually crossed over towards A. And then it's going to insta-group B hit with the smoke or something? I don't know. Let's see where the smoke goes.
An opportunity, especially looking at Kiko, to try and farm up some orbs. Got that Outlaw in play. Shots fired. And well, hit. He doesn't get the orb.
This is the last time we saw a double Astra on this map. It's been a while.
It looks like the idea to pressure towards this B side, even just
Fade eye back of sight. Doesn't get shots, so you know it's clear.
No immediate reaction. Starting to get a sense for how those rotations have come through. They pressure Serial up close,
dude,
but
Kiko's incredible with like the he just quick scopes all the time with Outlaw. Speaking of Kiko, 2 away from his ult as well. Definitely gonna need to keep an eye on that. Could try and get him closer and go be aggro on this if they want to. Don't think it's
for that showstopper.
necessary.
He's definitely been a player that I think needs no introduction, but still needs to be highlighted. Like, he has had an incredible season kickoff. I think not really even arguable that he was the best player. An incredible performance from him individually, and also flexing between that controller and obviously coming up with that double.
Oh, that's a good start. That's the kind of start you want to have. Buy rounds, 59% win rate.
For them, but now very good in these sort of scenarios. We'll see if they can do it in the bonus.
Now we see the Outlaw again, but it's swapped hands to give Kiko a rifle. Both of those players end up falling immediately. Fnatic not pulling any punches as Boaster through the smoke drops camo. All right, well, we didn't even get to talk about potential in this round because there was quite a lot of it.
Yeah, might not even get any kills on this
one. One of the players coming in with a weaker weapon. He's been able to upgrade at least.
Patty and Serial will probably want to do damage. They could save.
Now leaving Patatek and himself. You say to do it all normally, but this isn't a round they're likely to win at this point.
56%. Wait, Bacon, how are you losing so many games?
Really want to see some of these players fall for Fnatic. Crashy's low, 10 HP. Boaster on 55.
Wait, Nats invested.
I think
you're right.
Well just has to
Someone has to save.
You look at Nats already down on 100 credits. You at least need to hold on to one of these rifles.
Yep.
Probably shouldn't be the Bulldog, so Serial's going to go looking, but he is found immediately by the side of Fnatic. Around looking squeaky clean for them, as good as you can get in terms of these third-round purchases. And to be honest, my highlight going into this
buy an EMEA, it's becoming more popular.
Yeah. I think he's just trying to pick off one. It's
Paper X were doing it today in Pacific as well.
And an in-zone flawless comes off the back of it. Yeah, I think a gun lost in a scenario where
oh
really
boy, don't be looking around for the admins.
And I want to see now what that's going to do in terms of damage to the economy, because as I said, Nats did not have enough to buy into this next round.
That's because of that rifle they bought up that ends up being lost. Given it
what
to
happens
Kiko,
now?
The idea being, you know, if he just grabs that one kill, an orb maybe early on or late
Dude,
after
it's always
control
Liquid,
is seized,
isn't it?
you've got a showstopper and a real opportunity to fight your way
it's Liquid
back
on
into
split.
the game
Actually, cast.
early on to put that 3-0 on the board. It doesn't connect for them. And so they're left in this position, as we are. A technical pause called in the early stages of the game. There it is. You love the red, Tom.
Yeah, both social media managers from each of these teams are smiling, heading over to Twitter to make their memes while we sit and wait. Hopefully it's not something that's anywhere near as problematic as before. I don't think it will be. We haven't seen anything of the sort just yet. But I want to talk again about sort of the players we have coming into this match, because obviously this is one where you get that double duelist, and we'll always highlight
finally the real main show is back. Yeah,
versus camo battle. I think it's going to be a fun one. But I do think in this scenario the secondary duelists are actually more notable in a lot of cases. Like Kiko coming
Alpha
in,
sprinted.
no surprise.
What do you reckon? Forgot charge of something?
To the match versus Foot, Alpha year was unbelievable. 26-10, 7-1 in
got the
opening
charge
duels,
cable.
234 ADR. That's average damage per round, which that's madness. How much he was able to do. If he can have that same performance in this matchup, we're talking about what could be a very dangerous scenario for Liquid. At the same time, though, as I said, it has been a struggle for any team coming up against them. Trying to face off against this squad has definitely not been easy. So I do kind of want to look at this as obviously a favored map for the side of Liquid. They've picked it knowing that it's strong for their opponents, but one where I think their victories have been a lot cleaner. In fact, over this stage at least, nobody has even got to double digits versus them.
I think it was highlighted by the desk as well, though, that both teams have been allowing that split through, have been picking it. In fact, if the opportunity is given for Team Liquid, though, like you say, that the stats are at their back. It looks like somewhere that they can be able to battle successfully up against any team
hopefully he's not sick
in the region. And man, I suppose any team at Masters as well, with EDG not being there. But the reality is as well, for Fnatic, both of these teams have had strong performances, even looking at Foot as a ballpark. Recently enough, they both played them, they both put up good defensive sides, and I think that's going to be the make or break. We talk about Fnatic having a good attack, having good at both, right?
It depends on the week.
That was a point that Billy made, like it doesn't matter what side they start on. Fnatic are shooting for 8 because that's what they've been hitting every single time. And so Team Liquid, they get that
for the
test
wrong
right
reasons.
out the gate. This is the side that you've been performing on. This is the side we want to see those rounds go up, and I think further feeding into why we see that rifle picked up on
the only two from Gambit, right? That
good chance to get the ulti there and really
are doing well, I guess.
Early on, that could crumble Fnatic's early plan, but it wasn't what we
even
saw
then,
go down on the
7th to
server.
8th.
Still, though, that showstopper's going to be lurking in the back of their minds. 1 kill, 1 orb.
I think it's hard to stay consistent in this game.
The good thing is,
there's not too many players from back in the day that are around
with Chronicle picking up those last couple of kills,
and like performing at a similar level.
Not only are they close to having their Viper's Pit, but also the economy is in a very, very healthy spot. Minimal reinvestments when we do get into round number 4. At that point, it should be a difficulty to break their economy.
I think also just what we have a minute, like the overall context of this veto is quite fun, because you've got Split where we have an unbelievable amount of data. We see both teams running identical compositions with what they
pause the VOD
to do
tonight? I
going
just
into this
tanked it, man.
And then you have
Would have been a great
Icebox,
opportunity
which is
to
the
try
opposite.
it, but
we've got Fnatic who
I'll be honest,
have not played
pretty
it
much forgot
the entirety of this year. Haven't played it, in fact, since 2024 in July. So it's been a very, very long time. A map that historically is fantastic for them. They pretty much built the comp that ran it for a stupid amount of time and made me very upset to cast that map. And then you have Liquid on the other side, who have played it a couple of times, experimented with comps, tried Waylay in the mix, have tried putting their duelist on a Gecko to try and make things work. Both times failing versus squads that are already out. You're talking Mates and KC, teams you'd expect them to beat, maybe even beat comfortably. So it's not a good map for them, but it's also not one that Fnatic plays. So we kind of go in blind. My expectation is we're going to see a swap up again from Liquid, and when you lose a map twice in the same stage, you're going to have like different variations, different ideas. So we'll have to see.
We will. Well, we'll have to wait a while to see, Tom, because we have a little bit of an extended tech pause, and while our league admins are working hard on fixing that, we're going to toss this over to the analyst desk.
Oh boy, that means it's a long one.
Thank you very much for that, Mitch and Tom. We do have a tech pause going on right now, but don't worry, I will keep you guys updated as soon as I hear anything else. But for now, I'm very, very, very pleased to be joined by a group of people that like to yap. So we're going to yap. We get to yap. We do this once a week. We get to yap.
I'm starting to think it's not Lauren and Mike. It's actually Tom and Mitch.
I agree. I agree. They're always at the scene of the crime.
Yeah.
You didn't get to Yap earlier.
No.
So
no, I didn't.
Congratulations. You have an opportunity right now. Let's Yap. You've played against Liquid on Split.
Oh, yeah.
Now, Bear and Billy were both, you know, leaning more on the Liquid camp when it comes to the split between these two
See
teams.
Linkers playing again? I mean, stopped again, right?
I think it's just been like a staple of Liquid's map pool. Like they picked it every time that it's open. They always want to start an attack, so starting defense is like maybe a bit of a I mean, I wouldn't even say curveball because Fnatic start an attack quite
You ever thought about making educational workout content? Mate, I've got no idea what I'm doing.
They have such a solid foundation on it. It's like
I mean, that's a good idea.
Do you agree with some of the narratives other players and coaches have said that Liquid just do the same thing every week? They haven't been able to change much on Split.
Yeah. Kinda, yeah. Like their defense, when we scouted them, they really just run the same round, if not the same protocols every single round, the same map, like areas of the map they want to fight for. So, yeah, kind of. But I wouldn't necessarily say it's a bad thing. It evidently works for them. They've won every split game.
Why is
that?
Like,
lost it this year.
I think. Sorry, I think there's a difference between unreadable and uncounterable. You know?
That's exactly what I was going to say. If we think about it, now that we had Rians on the desk, if we think about last year and Heretics and their sunset, many people would say, "Oh my
God,
I
think we found our little niche. I'm not sure we should go
Nobody
into the
can work
bigger,
against it. So why would you don't
the
change
bigger
it if
fields.
it's not broken?
I think
of
what
workout
I
and
kind
cooking.
of took into consideration was the fact that they're running
got
the
zero
same comp,
experience.
so they should know how these type of protocols work. And Fnatic should be able to.
Who was first?
He's the guy on the
Fnatic,
couch,
right? Or
Gorilla.
was it Liquid that came out? No,
X Vitality and
I
current
think it is. I mean, oh god,
coach
she's
for the
Fnatic
moment.
bias. Actually, I'm coach bias, as you can see from this graphic. But my favorite team in the league
Chamber
right now.
viable on any maps. It's gonna be way more viable once Tear's out.
I think they kind of brought this
Chamber
out
Vice is
with
pretty
Liquid,
legit as a combo.
on that Yoru, but I can't remember if they did have the Fade or the Astra. Maybe it was Omen.
Maybe it was
Omen
before
was
the
in there.
Astra buff.
Yeah.
So it was probably maybe the Omen, but
I'm not sure
don't quote
who
me on that one.
started it. It probably wasn't even our region, let's be honest. We like to nick stuff from
But this
other
was
people.
supposed to be this is going to be the test, you know, because the point that you were making, Gorilla, about every single time that it's been open.
Professional, thank you so much for that, mate.
The same goes for
Not a
Fnatic,
chance
every
as
single
well,
time
but
that
I
they've had the
appreciate the
chance,
bits.
They're going to split. So
Thank you for the suggestion, at least.
Going into this map, going into today's matches, they know that it's kind of a map that you're going to see.
Are you guys upset we're not going to see the Lotus?
A lot. So much. So much. Because of a little bit of the same reasoning as this. I want to see if somebody's going to stop Team Liquid. I think that Fnatic is a very good candidate to do so. So, especially the Lotus that we've seen with the double Sentinel. Fnatic leaning on a composition that has given them so much and they've proven they're so good at that I thought this was going to be it. But it was Fnatic that banded on the last one.
I was going to say, it was the decider. Did we go to Lotus or Fracture? And actually it was Fnatic that decided that they wanted to go to Fracture, which to me is interesting, right? Because the last time that we saw them play Fracture, it really took a while for them to get back in it. It wasn't until Kayak jumped onto that operator that they started stringing these kind of rounds back together again.
Yeah.
So, interesting.
That was a fun game, though.
It was a fun game.
That was a fun game. Depends which team you like more. We did this last time I was allowed to come here and yap for 4 hours, but
EMEA could use the tech support. I mean, I think this one is in there.
In just a moment.
I think this one's their fault, man.
I get debated. Back to you, Mitch and Tom. You'll never know what I was going to say.
Thank you very much, Yinsu. Back we go. Back into the fray. Round 4, queued up and ready to go. Oh, no.
I hope it was questions about Gorilla's tattoos. Gorilla has a lot of cool tattoos. So I think we should just, if there's another tech pause, we should just go through all of Gorilla's tattoos.
It's a shame that is the last we see of Yinsu today. So yeah,
he's got one on his lower back. I think it's a butterfly.
So round 4, anyways, about to kick off here. Split, the map that we're on, the map we were on. Nothing's changed. The rounds are the same. There's no rollbacks.
Okay.
We can be thankful
this
for
is
that.
the important round.
With a stinger, and that's the downside.
Yeah,
of what
and
we
that's
saw
us to take the
just
stinger
before.
because of
We
the
had that
early
little
round
break.
where he dropped
Is it a
Kiko.
downside? Last time he had that, he killed someone, picked up a judge, and got an ace.
That is very true, isn't it? He did have his Viper's Pit to work around. This time 4 orbs away. That will be difficult to acquire, Tom.
Difficult, but not impossible.
You reckon he can do it inside the orb, perhaps?
Who knows? Nats can do anything. Already, an aggressive start to the round. Camo going looking, and it's the bait and switch, but Camo actually predicts he's ready for Chronicle. Obviously, an important part of the game plan is clearing Chronicle from that A site. Lurks around that part of the map so regularly. because of that, you can see the immediate response from
He's just
Fnatic.
going to do a
Some of these angles. We
just
can't
dominate
allow
here.
Liquid to have
With
this
Yara.
much space for free.
Here. Slow push up. Yeah, but we'll find nothing. Team Liquid with a super passive play towards B. You talk about map control for free, but there's nothing being taken by the defensive side. It means they're going to be a little bit more delayed in reacting to this split that's coming through. Fnatic from main and from vents with a stinger.
Okay, no B main control, so 3-person stack over towards B.
That's really not in the best of positions to keep this advantage in their favor. Snakebite goes down, that's going to delay them. They've got teammates coming to link up.
Yeah, with the wall up as well and the nade, they kind of know about 3 at the moment, so rotate should come in.
This is a tough position, Nats, so he's got the close range angle. He's being spotted, the decoy blinds him. Great play by Kayak. They'll get themselves towards the site, but now the rotations are coming in, and there's only 12
Great shot, that spike, they've got to go back for that.
Pressure. Oh, and there's Camo picks up
Jesus, dude, Camo's just solo own them, by the way. That first kill that drops the spike creates so much chaos as well.
I'll take that as a prediction, you know. I'll add it to the chat.
That's how that works, Tom. I'm not going to give it to you.
A lot of people surviving for Liquid as well, so their money actually gets pretty good after this.
Chronicle's going to be isolated, so they go aggro. I say they. Camo goes aggro, finds that opener.
Nice timing from him as well.
It is basically the Camo show, just being able to hold on to that site almost solo. Moves himself up the board and breaks back immediately. Now, as you mentioned before, Fnatic managed to keep that round flawless.
Fade eye for Heaven, so see if you can take the TP or not.
They are now on their last legs once again, and look at the ultimates already for Liquid.
Okay, they fake the TP, so definitely for sure they think they're over towards Heaven, so an early Prowler goes out. And with Camo clearing the corner as well, they know that no one's crossed yet.
Cascading into the site with so little time and offering up isolated duels. I mean, Camo's eaten well when he's given those chances. This time it's not quite so easy, but he almost gets
Dude, straight up sight hit.
bullets.
Maybe they've looked into where the Yora TP is, I'm not sure.
The rotation's already coming through. Team Liquid, 3 players towards the site, but only 1 on it, and the gate crash used to get right out of there. Showstopper fired in.
Dude, this was a little bit weird because Kiko wanted to fight site, but Camo wanted to leave site. So, both on a different page on this one, and then they just have no map control. It's a big fumble for Liquid.
With a big challenge on their hands.
Got killed through the corner of the fake out. That was a nice shot from Alpha here, and while for the remaining 2, it almost seems impossible already. Yeah, I think again.
I don't know if it's like a comms issue or something between these two, but
a faster pace for Fnatic, and honestly, that has been one of my main worries when watching the squad and the attack, is they do leave it down to the wire so regularly. Like the amount of times you'll see an execution with 20, 15, sometimes even 10 seconds left on the clock. So this time, much more of a pacey take. Openers going their way, and even with the showstopper thrown in, I think it was Chronicle must have picked Kiko out of the air just after he fired it. That will be a second round on the board, and
then
no
1-9 here.
This time for the side of Fnatic, they just want to keep their own economy strong.
1,000 on top of this, so this can be a drop. This can drop this. This is a buy. This is a
round up for Fnatic, and we talked
like
about
they'll probably take the hit. 4 guns, 1 judge or something. Bucky, Stinger.
Not going their way, wasn't a death sentence. Thanks to round 3 being so clean. That gets them on the board here early on. Keeps that scoreline tight. But Team Liquid, well, they're in a similar boat. They'll still be able to invest coming into this. The problem is if Fnatic get boots on the ground, because Chronicle has had that early start. Viper's Pit's already online. And that's going to be very difficult to fight back through. Nobody knows that better than Nats.
Opening fight for middle.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Come by next.
Already the spams in towards Nats' position, but this is more of a ruse. In fact, Chronicle has placed the wall and then is already immediately rotating towards the B side.
Chat, where on earth is the Viper smoke? I can't see it. Is it this one in middle? Oh, okay. I mean, as soon as Liquid set up 1 over towards here, they're just going to keep 3 strong over towards B. Yeah, this is an absolute classic. Flash for under Heaven, TP back at site. Dude, Alpha's just strolled onto the side itself. Dude, Fnatic are just ignoring middle, smoke pressure on its own, and then just sight hit. So, do you think like comms need to be pretty good once this smoke goes over towards it to try prioritize Heaven?
All the way to backside, just opening up the info for
maybe Camo can earn this round.
Put in as the pressure's applied.
He spotted everybody though.
Yeah, he knows they're all locked into sight. Keep an eye on Crashies going for the round the world.
On Crashies potentially slipping the net. He was looking to just round
Dude, Camo went for the fake Yoru clone to try get info.
the idea from Camo. He faked out that he was the decoy, but he couldn't quite find Chronicle. He was too deep in there. They've got him eventually, though.
Oh, it's not a good plan.
Falls with him. Crashy's now up close. Finds one. Defuse already up to half. And he knows that that player had to come off the defuse. Biding time here. Kiko trying to force the fight.
Okay, nice. He handled from Crashies on this one.
But it's Crashies
It's a rough round for Liquid.
A Red Bull clutch to equalize.
Force him down to Nico.
Solid round from him. As said, when you had Camo going back in with that dimensional drift, he spotted everybody, but the one player that managed to slip through that pit in towards the spawn and just hold on to ground was the one that ended up winning it.
Liquid might need the timeout. They got to talk about middle at the moment.
Where Crashies ended up being, and what we really have seen sort of the... We've seen the development of him as a player. Like when he first was picked up into this roster, I definitely had doubts. But the form he has found, the maps he's even won. I look towards Fracture and individually
Insta push over towards B, and that's a nice pick. And that's a gun down as well, so there's a lot of pressure on this point at the moment. It's like this 3-person push to pick up the gun, and you've got Boaster who needs to make a decision. Either holds this strong or... Yeah, now that's 2 guns. So definitely got an insta react over towards A. Yoru's here with a picked up gun, or one of the original guns.
He's taken a lot of damage, as has Fnatic, and the snake bites enough to finish him off. They knew Paddy's in the corner, and that's a disaster.
Something that was pretty cool from Fnatic on this one, right? They've been changing up the smoke every single round, and just as maybe you've seen 2 rounds in a row where they haven't thrown the smoke over towards Heaven, Chronicle now throws it over towards Heaven. So if they were trying to adapt on the fly without a timeout and realize that the weak spot is Heaven, they're going to get blocked off. So pretty good from Chronicle to change it up.
An individual duel. Chronicle on the angle, Prowler even put through. Well, first shot not connected, but Chronicle and Kayak will combine. Fnatic convert. Lead taken.
Liquid might do a timeout here, but I feel like Fnatic are changing so much up. I don't think they can have a good read on what's going on.
Being able to seize those players in screens again. Yeah, we start the round out, and it looks like somewhere that we didn't even see the opening pick, that's how quick it was. Somewhere that they shouldn't have too much to say, but after the opening pick, after the advantage then found so concretely, losing those 2 players in screens just puts a massive wrench in the works. And
okay, the classic Fnatic on this one is split B with Yoru.
Deep swing on screens to finish off Paditech. We could have had a much
change up again of just a Viper smoke over towards middle to create pressure.
Showstopper as well.
Fnatic haven't even gone middle yet, right?
Pretty
sure. Apart from pistol
from the side of Fnatic, because this is again looking like a much more direct early take. They've done the same with Chronicle, already making that rotation over. This shot needs to be connected, and while Camo has to just escape.
Poor Kiko just gets left alone.
But he gets the trade.
Dude, and then we're 1 pass and flooding in on our own.
Just quick enough. And now with the Cosmic Divide, there were 4 ults in this round. Fnatic have already used a couple of them. But with a post plant and a man advantage, it's a good spot. And an even better
they need a timeout. Normally the thing that we praise Liquid for a little bit is like playing together. There's been a couple of rounds, big buy rounds, but they're on different pages.
As long as you're taking the space on the back of it, that's all
Free
that
Rider
really
Tomo,
matters.
thanks so much for the Prime, bro. Appreciate the 15 months.
With the trade out and the immediate flood in from his teammates. Now Serial's obviously looking to save this rifle. They've sent out Chronicle to hunt him down.
The problem is, as soon as you call a timeout,
Fnatic
fighting you middle.
Rifle will be carried through to the next, but like you said, Tom, it looks like a weakness has been found. Blood in the water, and Fnatic are swimming straight towards it. That B site crumbling in the early round a couple times now.
Yeah, it seems like a spot that they're not only willing to fight for in most rounds, whether it be a lurk or with an aggressive take, but the second they had the ults online, you could see the whole team was built up. Chronicle again just going, okay, I'm just going to place my util and then immediately look to just go back and join the team. They had no point in that round where they knew they were going to go back. At no
say Crashy's one, so it might be Alpha, to be honest.
Towards the B site, and well, with it working out wonderfully, the late lurk through mid.
Let's keep it up. Good comms, good Razor AF here. That's what we like to see. Value.
And it really is. It's value there. Also, Kayak with a great read timing-wise on that deep swing. That could spell out doom for Team Liquid if they can't find a solution.
Yeah, I think for them, 4 rounds in a row, 5 of the last 6 after what was a solid start. We mentioned it, when it comes to this map in particular for Fnatic, 8-4 is where the
first more fun
half
watching or playing Val? I mean, 5-stack Val's pretty fun.
4 times, sorry, they played it, and the 5th was a 9-3.
So probably 5-stack Val is better than like ranked.
Kind of absurd. It was the
and
BBL
then
comeback
watch
of
partying
dreams,
and then ranked probably. It's the way that
but now at least it's proving potentially right again, because the last few rounds I don't think have been particularly close for the side of Liquid. The more direct takes with that double duelist combo, but then Chronicle has just been fantastic.
Want to play Bacon, that's crazy.
I note as well, when he's going with the team, that's where it seems like there's just so much impact.
Normally you never
allow
want to
this
play
guy
Bacon.
to trade out kills. That's the easy work for Chrome.
The other thing that's kind of surprising is the fact that the Kiko Alpha
should watch party ranked. I mean, wait, what? Should watch party ranked? What do you want me jump on someone else's stream and just watch them?
Time and time again, and the reality is for Fnatic, having Alphier be quiet or be shut down early. And
you really threw me off with that one, I'm not gonna lie. Okay, we got
36% chance for this round because there is a single
Liquid
rifle once again.
expecting some kind of mid, or at least changing what they're doing in terms of a push down towards middle. We definitely need to keep an eye and see what the buy round's going to be about.
Almost looking to try and set him up, but they flash Boaster off.
Watch party your games, Des. If you're playing Sage, not a chance. You play another agent, then maybe.
And on the other side of the map, they already have an awful lot of space. This fight, though, even a trade wouldn't be great here for Alfia, and yeah, immediately I like it. Just
watch party Ardis playing ranked, mate. The guy doesn't play the game.
Well.
Watch partying Ardis is going to be him in the range, flaming people.
That one rifle, it was Kiko swinging into B main, taking that aggressive duel. So the adjustment here of saving the op, which was a last-minute decision, they did juggle it into a position where they could have that conversation. But the fact that he goes then posts up and says, all right, maybe they're going to have Kiko swing with the rifle again. I'll be waiting. And this time he would have won the duel.
I think it's a little bit low.
Towards the A
not saying that Kiko should use his ult, but if this gets to like 15 seconds, you got to be tempted to. They have a fair amount of delay. Nade.
This utility's going to delay them by a little
they
bit.
could really delay this. They do for a good amount of time. Still not through the choke yet.
Your opponents are
on isolated on site.
Trying to make things more awkward. In fact, even looks to try and take the duel. 15 seconds.
Oh, you got to be tempted to ult now.
The one to find the kill, and even a
literally exactly on the 15 seconds spot, like we said.
Catch out crashes. 10 seconds. Fnatic have left it so late to try and get something done, but the spam actually helps out, and now needs a little bit
nicely
more,
done. Yeah, they just left it a little bit too late. 30 seconds trying to head over towards the site. We got Nade, we got Viper Molly, had wall up as well. Sorry, smoke up as well.
That extra, what was it, 9% definitely helped them out.
Oh, 100%. And what really helped them out here is they didn't have the credits, but they had the ult economy. The fact that after first pick, Showstopper can be pulled through, not even acquired there. It was already online coming in, and then Viper's Pit is there. And the boxes these players in to a tiny corner. Even the attempt to body block just ends up with 2 kills going in the other direction for Team Liquid. Well, it's not the first time we've seen an impactful late-round Viper's Pit from Nats in that kind of position. This one has a different flavor to it. They have been defeated in so many of these rounds, but now they could be right back on the horse. For Fnatic, an op bought up. It's Chronicle on that lurk towards the A side.
First time for Fnatic to go over towards middle. We said this would happen when it gets to buy rounds. That they're actually going to try and take over towards middle. So the first time, other than the pistol, that they've actually taken middle.
Some part of the map, and while the Boombot gonna give the
Vision gets blocked, Prowler goes out.
Sirio is still at the back of site.
Pretty much confirmed question mark. Someone might have taken a timing.
Ultimates mirrored once again. Just the Nightfall available for either side. But this time they've managed to find a lot of space towards middle. It's only now that it seems like some presence is being thrown in from Sirio. I think they've definitely made the realization that, okay, we could have lost Heaven, so we'll reclaim that with a Prowler. The only problem is the timing.
Cool finally gets made to split over towards A.
Could actually be sublime.
Dude, might be another round where they struggle against the time here, especially with Patsy over towards Spawn with Fatal.
Stopped across by Nats.
Got Wall to delay, you got Nade, you got Fatal, Fade-Eye, Teva.
Stick around. There was a gap.
The big TP in the corner.
Nats spots him on the cross, almost loses his life for his trouble.
Fatal for Fatal.
Under heavy pressure in the back.
Guys, 15 seconds, get out of Heaven.
The shots need to land for Kiko. He'll grab one, 12 seconds again. Time pressure on for Fnatic. Players flooding into the site, the plant being stuck, and it will be acquired, but these players are out in the open. easily taken down.
It's like we're playing 3-minute rounds, man. What are Fnatic doing?
Too much pressure on Fnatic for those
what are they doing, bro?
I said it earlier.
Is it just because they're like not given picks? They don't know what to do.
The clock very slow, especially if they don't meet any resistance. They're almost waiting for that trigger, like that thing.
The thing is, like, if Liquid have no ults, it's fine. If Liquid have no ults, I don't mind this at all.
That was the
but
first sort of
doing
piece of
this
the puzzle.
against a Razor,
I also really like as well the targets that were chosen there by Liquid, because
you saw that. I'm glad you did though.
While there are people sort of planting, a lot
so
of
the Joe
time
from elbow to heaven.
To try and deny that. Liquid didn't do that. They went, okay, we already have a good advantage in this round. Let's take out the dangers. And the last guy still has to stick that plant. If he lets go, we win the round. So I think just good decision making in terms of the targets that they chose. And while right back up to level, the 8-4 is not happening.
And I think also great usage of the timeouts from Team Liquid. The idea to just pump brakes and wait for aggression. Fnatic were waiting, as you said, across the map, expecting aggression.
Yeah, they got to speed up a little bit. Especially as Liquid are giving them like no picks.
That would be their go moment. But they didn't have that. And Team Liquid perfectly reading into that, hey, they're waiting for us to make mistakes. Let's just run the clock down. Let's make them play late into the round, no info. And the most that they had really was seeing a player's screens, seeing Nats up in heaven. Then even the player on site's going to catch you off guard, as you don't expect them to have made those heavier rotations, but those deeper plays on B.
A, B. Was it B on Byron?
Information kept by Serial with the more aggressive B hold. Being forced back early on by Alpha Air, it didn't actually have the impact that they wanted. It didn't force anybody to overthink, to commit to that site. Now they're going to look for another solution. I think the slow play
buys, A on
has to be put on the back burner.
Well, B has been a really good spot for Fnatic.
Yeah, I mean, since they've lost twice over towards A as well, I think you're probably going to see them MB twice in a row anyway.
That would be my expectation. Try and challenge. Serial's had a bit of a quiet game. A lot of that is that he hasn't had many fights to take, currently 2 and 4, which going into round number 11 is a bit of a weird scoreline to have. But now, though, it is patient from that defense. When you have the operator with vision over middle, that's been a fairly free spot on the map for Fnatic to take thus far.
Okay, with the TP being spotted as well, your TP over towards
the same sort of play we're looking at.
B.
Players on the extremity
and Camo.
and then aggression in middle.
My goodness.
Now the reposition from Camo
so scary.
As he crashed out with the utility thrown his way, but
nice
when
shot.
he swings in with that op, Crashies is there waiting. Now they've got their opportunity. A player down, but the B site that they're looking at already has reinforcements. Patatek rotated into heaven to cover this off. Snakebite down from Nats.
It's a big gamble from Liquid on this one. Nice little fake smoke. Yeah, they get Spike here as well. Ah, man, this was impressive, though. Did you see them dueling all together? That was sick. Ah, that was nice team play from them. Good little plan in the 4v5 as well. Fake smoke into double swing. Heavy lean over towards B.
We've seen it so many
Dude,
times.
I'm pretty sure whoever's with Nats did no damage, by the way. It was all Nats.
He's been having a great time in
That's right.
individual form, given the speeches as well, but that timing for Crashies was unfortunate.
Batsy just took the bullet.
Your opponents have to sort of run back into your crosshair.
What a beast round from Nats.
That's when Nats really is the most dangerous player, maybe in our whole region. 6-5. Liquid, after being 5-3 down, take a pause, win 3 in a row, and could go in with the lead at the half.
Perfect read from Liquid as well. Once you've rotated that third player into position, your A side is so light that an aggressive play has to be made, and using the pullback smoke to catch them off guard, not just with one. We've seen Nats do that with his orb in the old version of Viper many a time, but having the second player of Patatek there, they could push down through mid and take the info, but they didn't need to. The spike was brought to them. For Fnatic, they're stalling out.
So Prowler went over towards A, and then
I've seen Nats in these sort of
they
positions.
then end up 3-pass and stacking over towards B. So they definitely feel like they got some kind of read. The heavy leaning over towards B and gambling a little bit on A past 2 rounds.
Does still have that gate crash online, can just take the pick and escape, but it is going to come down to the timing on the clock. He's been spotted, but just decides leaving.
Yeah, okay, do they flood in together this time?
Althea will take the space on the side, but there's so many players already here. Serial, Nats combining. Althea has at least been able to find one back with the
I don't know about that one.
I don't think they realized how deep into the site Kayak was. This leaves things level, but only for a moment. 30 seconds.
30 seconds
with
left.
Boaster low.
Nice shot.
Chronicle's the one that needs to take the fight, and while you mentioned this man,
Yeah, this was a lot better though from Liquid. You see that other rounds where like Nats went on his own, just both of them pushed through the smoke through heaven, double swing towards spawn as well. It's a good recovery from what was going on.
Coming out of that half, but it can all change in the second
Abby Shop, thank you so much for the Prime. I appreciate that as well. Thank you so much for using Prime on me.
Defense, but we know Fnatic can make it work on either side. We'll find out how their defense is going to go after the break.
One enemy.
What percentage would you have given either team prior to the game? Like 55 for Liquid, I would say, from what we've seen. 55-45. It's a very close game. Why the EMEA game so much later than other regions, mate? We got no idea. It's a good question. Yeah, it is a good question. We don't really know. Avanox with the Prime. Thank you so much as well, man. Appreciate the 6 months. Did I finish watching the Frost podcast even? I'm like just under halfway through. Not any further than it was earlier when someone asked.
Seven to 5, Team Liquid moving on to their attack side.
Yeah,
and it's been a good display from the factors that you want to see online. Kiko early winning those battles against Alphayer.
Fnatic, I mean, yeah, they lost 2 rounds from being really slow.
Great calling across the board from Liquid. That timeout they took around round 8 or so, it definitely made a difference. We saw that change to punish the slower play style of Fnatic, and it didn't look like there was any solution being found.
But I think it's something that needs to be highlighted more. It's just the Liquid coaching staff with like their counterplays, their ideas, and what they're coming up with have been fantastic all the way through the year so far. Even implementing a new player for stage 2 and still looking like they're one of the favorites to make it to Toronto. That's what's on the line in this match. Both squads looking to play in on while Crashy's under pressure.
It's Camo going in for it, but Kayak's there to greet him and plenty of players to swing with. A big
Kayak is just solo annihilated this round.
May have pulled him across the line here. Hungry for that international appearance is Serial with 32 HP.
GT3 with the Prime. Thanks so much for the 4 months, man.
Deficit. The pistol will certainly help you remedy that right off rip. With everybody on high HP, this is quite the challenge.
Trying to find an isolated duel. More Boaster is exactly that. Wow, okay. At the speed of sound, Alpha is there behind. As Fnatic to get themselves the pistol over the line. And
you were coach, did you ever suspect an opponent had scream info on you?
That was almost peculiar I
don't think so. Bacon? I think we had rumors that a couple of teams were doing it and we just wouldn't crack them.
I think part of it is the caliber of players around him, but also just the fact that this guy went on the Ascension run. I feel like I've seen so much from him as a player. He had big boots to fill.
There was definitely word that it was happening.
Well, he has been filling them. And on the other side of things, no matter what, we will have one of our rookies making it.
Bacon gives us a no comment. Okay, well.
Masters Toronto. For now, though, not much of an investment. Nats with a little bit extra on the Ghost. Flash. Okay, then. Nats doing his best Chronicle impression. It's not quite a classic, but it'll do
picked up the gun.
Job.
Dude, they've...
With Team Liquid taking down 2. A rifle in the hands of Camo. This round is far from a certainty for the defenders. In fact, this could be a major upset to the flow of this early half. They could have bridged the gap.
No way, everyone at the back took both bullets. Dude, and you would imagine that Nats has secured this one. Good pump from over towards heaven.
And it's only Boaster who stands in the way. I mentioned he was tied up for the highest
This
clutches,
is
clutch percentage.
it's another example of the defense maybe not buying enough. Yeah, there's quite a few of examples out there, right? Everyone's got the FPX buy, 3 guns, 2 pistols. It works on attack because you can control where you're hitting with the ghosts. The 3-2 on defense doesn't work that well. You normally have like 1 gun with 1 pistol, and then when that gun goes down and gets into the wrong hands, you basically lose the sight. So another example of it not having a good success rate. It does mean that you can buy better into this round with these 2, but
a huge bolster, a huge boost to the Liquid economy. This
that's a rough
far
one.
worse than just losing the pistol.
Oh no, yeah, if Serial won that clutch.
I just don't like the FPX buy on defense. It just, the stats aren't great.
Right now, this is looking pretty bad for Fnatic. 1 rifle in the hands of Alpha here, the rest on
you gotta have crazy discipline, and I just think that the attackers can do so much to overwhelm that it never feels in control.
As they attempt to take control, Alpha here is going to be alone with that rifle on the
definitely keep an eye on Alpha pushing real fast with this hero.
Okay. They don't really stand a chance.
Well, at least Nats is looking out for it.
Holding his back with an outlaw.
Yeah,
it's
they're definitely going to go for this gun.
Play, but one that will drop that rifle early on.
Seems like now the goal is just to try and get it back. Nats is
most
definitely
can at least see that the gun's gone.
Running or attempting to run through the snakebite just to retrieve that gun. The question now is,
this is nice from Nats though. He's really on top of that fast.
A good choice. You want to make sure that financially you're coming in with a decent buy in the next round, and he's the one who would most likely suffer. For the rest, it just comes down to trying to clear up some of these kills. And well, 2 players in the corner rather than the 1. And
a little bit of damage.
Done very well from that. At least made it a little bit more costly. Guarded an extra few orbs, but ultimately 3 players will survive for the side of Liquid. And that 1 hero rifle will be kept for Boaster.
Luckily, Boaster's not doing his best impression of Patatek at this point. He is nice and passive with that rifle. They need it for the next
passive tech.
I like it. I like what you did there, Tom. 9-6 for Team Liquid. Big boost in the early half. We thought Fnatic could have closed the gap, but they weren't quite able to make it up to neck and neck, and now trailing by 3. A big challenge for this defensive side. An operator pulled out early on, and the loss in this round is a step further away from that international appearance. This is a squad that we've seen win many internationals.
Dude, everyone's trying to get the scrim info. Were Koi really farming in scrims?
Last year only playing 2 games at a Masters event.
Bacon's didn't ask me anything in chat right now.
No guarantee that they'll see any.
Leak and everything.
No surprise.
Oh, that's a
free kill for Kayak.
Might be a costly miss.
Not gonna land.
Start looking at all of this. Build it up a little bit. Money's really low, obviously. Can't buy next. 3-person stack over towards B. No info anywhere.
Has taken quite a bit of damage elsewhere. So
they're like,
the early round.
Fnatic are blind of all of this. They got nothing. They feel like they need to get info. Triple push over towards B with the flash. 2-person hears this, and then they speed up over towards Heaven because they know. Dude, another one?
An awful lot of ground, and actually it's Alpha here that wins that first battle. In fact,
Jesus.
They're winning the majority, clearing out that backline. Well, I think the others have already been spotted. Kiko walking into Chronicle, even low, still manages to win the fight. And the only man standing,
well,
Nats.
It didn't cost him, at least.
No spike, not much HP. Probably just going to hold on to the gun.
I think it's the right call at this point. Better off run it with full health, shields, and a few more teammates around you. For Fnatic, this is exactly what they needed. Loss in this round, as I said, this would be the final domino.
It might get kind of close now. 3,000 extra for everyone on Fnatic. Doesn't look like any kills are going to go down.
They may have had a few stumbles, but they've had answers to a lot of the problems that Fnatic are putting up for them.
Gee, timeout here is Fnatic. No, it's okay. They went and got info over towards B main.
Fnatic in that round, like they spot that there's players waiting around B main. I am surprised how well it went though, because when you have that sort of heaven crunch and you have players pushing B main at the same time, and you have 3 and they have 5, you kind of look at that and go, okay.
Bacon, I was flaming you guys because Na'Vi had a big read on you.
The majority of the fights while fighting on both fronts at the same time, so a solid round from them.
Bacon, you gonna try to defend that 10 too?
That's been the story of a lot of the rounds
we got some time, maybe.
Squeaky clean. For now, though.
You telling me they didn't have a good read?
Kayak now looking to challenge in towards middle with that operator. It's not exactly the angle I'd hold it in. Maybe just trying to sell the ultimate.
What is Kayak doing? He's
okay, there we go.
Lunatic.
I think that's an odd spot to sit.
Look at this from Nats.
Look at this as well. Is this some kind of read that they got?
Aware of, but I see a gate crash going towards it, and he will be right on the cusp of it.
I don't think they have any idea.
Just
In spawn, here's a TP.
I don't think they do. You're spot on with that. And the play coming through vents.
The problem is they might look over towards him because they got to look at vents at one point.
Nat's walking up there.
Yeah, dude, nice fast kill. That was a great trade from Crashies. Crashies got a lot to do. They know that TP's going to go in. You see that Nats has pinged it already, so he's already calmed it out. So they know that. Know there's 2-person here.
That's a great play to get them the advantage.
Look at how well Crashies has played this round. What the hell?
All 3 of the remaining players. Crashies has just maybe won them the round individually. He's bought time for the remainder to rotate in. Stuns, gravity wells being thrown through to slow Liquid further. And now the clock coming up to just 25 seconds left for them to try and make a move. Liquid need to get into this site. And in fact, they've teleported almost directly onto an opponent.
Dude, Crashies is unkillable. What the hell?
Still standing.
Sick round from him.
Serial once again left to try and clutch things out.
So Nats had 2 options. Can't really be angry at him for this one.
He manages to get this done, especially now. The time already gone. Crashies the first point of contact.
So his like options. First of all, Crashies, incredible round from him. Nats has 2 options, right? When he hits a TP, he can either tuck into the corner here, get his team to make it look like they're A splitting, so that the TP goes in, so that he can actually just kill the rotate, or he tries to go for that over towards Heaven. He got unlucky, man. It's not like his decision was wrong. It's just the Crashies has hit a nut shot.
A sight lost and a round gone down the drain.
It's his re-aggression as well. He realizes, okay, if he's behind, they're going to pincer me. So I need to take a fight on one front, gets a kill, gets back to the site, then catches everybody with the Nightfall. Like, that was a one-man army. Like, without him in that round, if he's the person that gets shot, I think they still lose. Like, I think Althea gets traded out. He doesn't have the util to do what he just did. So honestly, that is a full-on Crashies round and an immediate pause call for Liquid, because
I mean, yeah,
we've
but
seen
no
it
one's gonna
before
do
already. As said, Fracture coming up later. There was a map where I distinctly remember the Crashies Teo. He just won it almost individually. Like, he was the only person positive on the whole team by quite a bit. So you don't want this guy to get going.
With the re-aggression as well from Crashies, there was a little bit of a fail-safe in having Kayak already there, but with an operator in elbow, he's going to be overwhelmed by the numbers. If Crashies doesn't get that kill, it could have fallen apart, but he's able to get out, and not just that, Boaster popping the smoke gives him that little bit of a safe haven, so as his opponents swing in to trade out their fallen comrade, there's a star in the way. They can't see through that smoke. Crashies is able to reset, ultimately getting all 4 to close it out. 8 on the board for Fnatic. They've
set strat. Looks like we're not all in buy-wise, but looks like we're about to be all in alt-wise.
Straight after a pause.
Let's see what happens.
That immediately turned the tide for Liquid, and well, it is a pace change. They've been very good at these sort of low buy, faster pace.
Oh my, the timing of the Astra Sun's nuts, by the way. 5 HP, that's incredibly close. If anything, the jump actually saved them.
It's actually going to be...
Yeah, gun for them to pick up. Zero has Astra ult as well if he wants to.
Well, he's gone.
Whoa.
In fact, another's gone.
Alpha stepping up when he's needed. Kayak
And
pulls
they
it
gave
back
him
into their
Jules
favor,
Heaven.
and again, weaknesses are there. Serial's only got himself a pistol to work with, but it's Nats. He's been here before, but now he's been spotted. They definitely have a read on his position. He'll still win the fight. They've been isolated because of that ultimate. Serial coming up into heaven, but Nats has been spotted out by Kayak. The site control theirs. Although the star will buy a
no,
little
not
bit of time.
again.
In fact, it
Not again, man. Why is it always Liquid with missed Astra Sucks?
Either way, Chronicle lands the shot to close the round out, and we are tied up.
Comes back to haunt them again on split.
I guess a bit of an unorthodox plant, maybe not one of the positions you're normally going to put it in, and that has just gone, well, tits up, I would say, for Serial.
Don't know if they need to be fighting Heaven so much here.
But even still, they managed to make that one.
Gun disadvantaged, mana advantage, fight Heaven. You got Astra ult.
9-9. Fnatic climbing back to level once again, but this is where the rifles come in. This is where I kind of expect the pause to have
1,
had its
2,
effect.
3, 4, 5.
ready.
Can't buy next if they lose it.
Oh
my god.
Basically just had to
Dude, they were so ready for this. By the way, 3-pass and stack over towards A, all on top of the TV.
The Prowler goes up, and when it doesn't get contact, they
Dude, he wasn't messing around here. Just popped it all instantly.
What a nasty surprise it is as you hear that voice line delivered. And a rocket
comes the
fired
double
into
jump.
Players down below. They've got a trap set and
no way, just his teammate bailed on him as well.
Control. It's only Chronicle needed, but he had the backup, and now they've got the spike to work with for Team Liquid.
They also only shot at Chronicle. So Alfio is just the spectator. Serial finally deals with him.
Still gonna get the spike though.
Found another. Now the spike, as you said, is in a horrible spot, and while with Kayak picking up Serial, it's now left all onto Paddy. Has a lot of utility, Mitch, but I don't believe in this one.
No, I mean the position's now down on bottom mid. The only thing going for him is they don't know where he's going to come from. They've set up a big swing, but it's for him coming from the attacker side. He can isolate the first duel, but he's down to 2 HP. Well handled, and Alphier, he knew he'd done damage. Maybe not that much, but confident to go out with the shorty
down
to
to
finish it
Nico.
off. Double digits for Fnatic, and the lead is now theirs.
Especially after the blip in round 2. I definitely got a little bit worried. Like, you get the start you're looking for. You think a lot of teams in that scenario might have ended up demoralized, but it's been a
double
big
controller without a Viper can be okay on this map.
Whether or not you agree, this is
Who's the
best
team that tried to
iteration
do it?
This is the best vibes they've ever had. Like, you can
There's a
see
team in
every
EMEA that was
single
doing it,
replay,
right?
whether
With
they're winning, whether they're losing.
Astro Omen, where they're doing like stage 1 smoke, stage 2 smokes. Jacob, Navi? Yeah, Navi sounds right.
Going into potentially the ice
Is
box
it both
that
of them?
we've not seen them play this year. It would be nice.
It was okay.
And while the buy is a lot stinkier than we've seen, but we
like the full process for it was pretty cool.
Just a ghost, so who knows?
Catch Kayak. He's safe, and they think the player backside's the one to worry about, but it's Kayak up close. Good for
Dude,
one.
ults on the
A bit of
eco.
time and a 1v1 that he wins out. Damage done.
Big nades.
Holding, clinging on to life. The nade sends them to the other side. It's Panatek alone. He won't be alone for long, rejoining his teammates in the spawn as 11 rounds found, and the streak from Fnatic continues. They are looking to put a close to this map, a map that they have chosen against many opponents, but here it's Team Liquid's map pick, and it's not going according to plan.
The only team that beat Liquid so far this year
Come on, boys!
was the reigning champions. So, you know.
Okay, this is it.
Fnatic
This is the
looking to
rounds.
add themselves to that minute list, and right now it's looking very good for them. 5 rounds in a row, no pauses anymore as well for the side of Liquid, unless one's called by the opposing side. Chronicle again has just stepped up with a double.
Dude, look at Crashies go, no hesitation. It looks like they have pretty good reads on this.
It's about as good as it gets. Maybe you would have wanted
My
to
guy's
take
top
Kiko,
pursuers within the first 20
Crashies.
seconds.
They have this round sewn up. They know exactly where their opponents are. They've trapped them into the tiniest of boxes. Or maybe if they went vents, there'd be a chance, Mitch, but they're not going vents.
So many things they could have done there, but just sending Alfhier to swing out wide.
Very strong.
Whether that was a
Three goes at it.
He took his destiny
Still
into
got
his
their
own
ults.
hands, we'll never know. But either way, it works out
Euphoria,
wonderfully.
thank you so much for doing that, dude.
Heating
Thank
up on
you.
this defensive side. He was put in the dirt early by Kiko, but now it's Kiko who's gone missing. And Fnatic one round away with 3 chances to close out this map. Let's not forget, they're defending a title here. They won stage 1 last year. They're looking to do the same this year.
My favorite thing right now is it was mentioned
They have
by
a
the
buy,
devs
I'm in a
that
force buy-in.
This map was a Gambit or Mech map. Nat 20 and 14, Chronicle 20 and 12. Both playing the same agent, both having high impact rounds. And while Chronicle, a lot of the time, Mr. Impact has been taken out. Pressure
No
on the
way, what is that?
side. No way!
Whose decision making is that? Like, who has the brain to do that? That's so crazy. It makes no sense, but he gets the kill.
They lost their...
Nobody going in that direction either.
That's absolutely wild.
We'll put another.
Okay, no info over towards B and a free B site. They know. I mean, they should know they're B main.
With the way that the round started, but getting into that post spawn, the only thing they have to worry about is main.
Can't believe they lost their pit, and Alpha just goes blast packing through, but he does pay a price. He's down to 6 HP. Crashies falling. This round is under threat. They group up, Alpha, Yer, and Kayak. Two duelists we highlighted coming into this. Alpha is the point of contact, and he had a chance against Kiko there. Just about misses the ship. Boaster falls. It's looking like this one is already done. Just 6 HP in it. And Alphier, I say, looking to maybe
nicely handled, and Zero got
really
some important kills. What an arse did I just watch?
12 to 10 now. 2 rounds left to play for. Credits there. Ults online. Showstopper for Alpha as well.
Of course, a very important round for the side of Liquid, denying their opponents the victory on their map choice, but I do feel like there's a moment where you lose that many buy rounds in a row.
More energy, boys. We won the round. Where is energy?
You get into a position where, sort of as Nats was saying, it's that revival. It's the revival of the energy, the confidence, the players that we know sit across from Fnatic on the stage. They've been fantastic throughout the season so far. Only a defeat in their first matchup. Other than that, it was clean. And while I said there were no more pauses for Liquid, they might be happy to get given one by Fnatic, who've decided, you know what? Okay, we've had a great half. We've been performing very well. But we do need ourselves one more.
Yeah, 6 in a row, and then you call the pause after we've just seen Chronicle get sniped straight through his pit. I mean, I guess there must have been other problems there. Maybe it was Alpha with his lunatic playstyle, but
it's also kind of just your last
chance on the scuba sign.
Really have impact.
I think it's a good sign. I mean, the main scuba's going to be good as a player. The main focus again is just like who's going to be IGLing, how's it going to look. But I trust in Bonko, man. I think Bonko is one of the best. We'll see what he's got.
I don't think the timing could be any better.
I imagine with what's going down, he has like full control of the team now.
Lohan and Yatsen on the other side, who has said they've been impactful with them.
They announced for sure it's Ethan. I mean, yeah, if he can't IGL well with Bonko as coach, then that's probably the last go at it he'll give for IGLing. I don't want to, again, I don't want to judge from that other NRG team, man. Everything was so wrong with that. Not the FNS version like the one before he joined.
It's Fnatic with all the wind in their sails. 2 chances to close this one out. Last time they lost that vent fight, this time they won't even be taking it. The Seize nade put through by Space for Camo's TP, and now they've got vents control.
Fade Eye goes deep over towards B, but was dodged.
From that defensive side because they've pushed
so right now, honestly, with what's going on, I think Liquid thinks there's 3A.
Problem is, the attackers are going the
Why
other
would
way.
there still be 2B after this? Unless he swung out and shot the eye, but I don't think he did.
He's been having a fantastic second half. It seems now like they do have the read. Boaster making that move as well. Edging ever closer. And with 40 seconds left, Liquid do look to build into the site, which is
Rotate comes in,
slowly being stacked up.
Fade Eye late shots, they know these elbow.
Left that gap in
and that's the spike down, 30 seconds, everyone going from heaven.
Spike down, 25 seconds.
Chronicle could win the round.
It's Kayak to fall. Chronicle not landing his shots either, and now they're wrapping around the side. He deals with that, or tries to, but Camo with another has opened up this side. A plan secured, and a Viper's pit to play inside of Alphier, though. It's a target-rich environment, and he'll find
holy bro, spike down, and this guy's just stuck in his ult. No way, man. Boaster got a double, by the way, through the smoke, through the ult. Kinda insane. Boaster gets a double there, I'm not sure. Maybe get a replay at the end too.